You don't need to feel the truth of something to embrace it as a knowing. So exploring the profound power of this is truly astounding. Every moment of practicing loving presence is a victory to celebrate because you're planting an energetic seed of true transformation. When we're lost in our thoughts and our feelings, we're actually being lost in neural projections of past experiences. It's not establishing complete felt sense of loving presence because that might not be neurobiologically possible. It's really just about practicing it. If there's a bombarding collage of thoughts and you're being present with the thoughts, that's not the same thing as being present in the moment. It doesn't matter how much you feel love and presence. It's about how much you invest energy towards love and presence. That consciousness is not trying to heal past experiences. Consciousness is healing presently existing neural wiring. So even without addressing the dissociation, it can begin to heal. You're literally creating miracles from the power of your consciousness for the parts of your consciousness. I'm here today with Kristin Windsor, who just completed a 4-year case study after many years of implicit health challenges that were ineffectively addressed by medical professionals across multiple states. Thank you so much for taking time to be here, Kristin Windsor. It is an honor to connect with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a blessed opportunity, such a divine privilege to be here and get to share my work. So thank you so much for having me and creating this space for me.
What did you learn during your case studies, or what were some conclusions that they led to?
Yeah, so my research led to several new discoveries, and it was a combination of learning about neuroscience, studying my experiences, and slowly drawing some new connections. And so the conclusions I came to were not things I directly learned from other sources. They were new things that I kind of figured out by piecing together my experience in relation to what I was learning from neuroscience. So my 28th thesis statement is that any type of dissociation can gradually experience healing relief by focusing on healing attachment systems. Because the storage of data within the unconscious mind, providing navigation, and the storage of data in the unconscious body, affecting regulation, both depend on the well-being of attachment systems, then addressing the well-being of attachment needs can help improve neural connectivity to increase the thriving well-being within the unconscious mind and the unconscious body. It might be difficult to recognize dissociation when it's happening. It might be difficult to pinpoint what type of dissociation is occurring. It may be challenging to articulate the unfoldings of experience. It might be challenging to acquire effective healing care from an external resource. Regardless of the challenges being faced, any type of dissociative experience can be assisted in a positive manner by prioritizing attachment well-being. Infinite power always exists when we practice loving presence. Loving presence is the opposite of dissociation. And every nanosecond of connecting with our inner experiencer with love and connecting with the present moment that our being is within, with grounded presence to the best of our ability with how our brain and our body are operating at the time, every moment of practicing this helps transmute energetic data that's at the core foundation of these unique experiences. It's important to note that practice is an aspect of our power. Practicing loving presence doesn't necessarily mean that you feel loving presence. You might still experience some unpleasant automated thought forms, or you might still have difficulties being grounded in the immediate moment. This type of automated personal experience directly stems from unconscious activity in the brain and the body, though. And so when consciousness practices loving presence, regardless of how that immediately impacts experience, it is always producing positive results within the neurobiology that's affecting our automated styles of personal experience. This process is very gradual. It might not feel like anything is happening at all, but when you practice loving presence and consistently show up for this aspect of self-healing, and you focus on providing for your internal attachment needs for all parts of yourself, this type of daily practice can cultivate new implicit wiring that gradually transmutes the underlying neuroscientific causality of all types of unique dissociative experiences. True transformation is gradual because you're reprogramming hundreds of trillions of neural networks throughout your brain and your body, carrying automated styles of understanding your identity and experience, and carrying automated styles of brain-body activity and regulation. So it's a really big job that's happening here in the healing journey. And because of that, it is going to take time. But it's important to know that every single moment of practicing loving presence contributes to the healing journey objective. So no matter how it immediately feels, every moment of practicing loving presence is a victory to celebrate because you're planting an energetic seed of true transformation within the deepest layers of your unconscious body-mind. And when this is done consistently and regularly, continuously with perseverance and patience and presence, then there will always, always, always be progress. Depending on the severity of dissociation, it might take some time. The more consistently this is practiced, though, the more progress will gradually be noticeable. While practicing loving presence, we gradually show up for attachment needs in current moments, and this process actually indirectly heals past moments of unmet attachment needs. So the first step in this process is to establish loving presence, and this alone is a lifelong practice. It takes constant conscious intentionality to be right here, right now, connected with our own essence. It's important to practice love and presence as two distinct energies that are simultaneously interacting. Why? Because this engages consciousness and neurobiology independently and simultaneously, so that there is distinction and connection between these components of the human experience. Consciousness exists and operates independently of brain-body structures. Consciousness is the essence of ourselves who is flowing through the brain and the body. So when we practice love, when we're practicing love and presence, or loving presence for healing journey purposes, we are practicing connecting with the truth of our essence, which is love. Love is the core energetic component of consciousness, which is who we are within the experience. So when we practice loving presence, love and presence as two distinct energies that are simultaneously interacting. The piece of love is consciousness connecting with itself. And this is most effectively done when the observational self connects with the inner life partner, the inner best friend, and the inner child. And then this practice unites consciousness through a process of self-attunement, where there's distinction and connection between these aspects of self-essence. So the observational self practices extending love to the inner life partner, the adult self who's navigating this moment right here. The inner child, or the aspects of consciousness who are encountering neurowiring in relation to the formative years of neurodevelopment, and the inner best friend who helps bridge these worlds. And as the observational self connects with these distinct aspects of consciousness, then they are united through the power of the love that they are. And this refers to consciousness, not neurobiology. They're distinct. They're completely distinct. And so, for example, when there's automated thoughts and feelings, those are projections from brain-body wiring. They are not consciousness. The parts of self-essence in the experience are not directly connected to the experience or what is creating the experience. They're distinct. Identity and experience are two completely different components of this miraculous experience. So who we are as consciousness, experience comes from brain-body wiring, but they're different things. They're totally different things here. So consciousness unites within itself through the power of its own love. The observational self extends love to these aspects of the inner experiencer or the experiential self. Then there's a practice of presence. And this is practicing presence with the brain and the body. So consciousness is establishing presence with neurobiological structures in this now moment, this now moment, this now moment. And this does not mean establishing presence with automated activity. If there's a bombarding collage of thoughts and you're being present with the thoughts,
That's not the same thing as being present in the moment, because thoughts come from neural projections. So when we're lost in our thoughts, we are actually lost in memories from the past, but we don't know about it. That's really fascinating, isn't it? When we're lost in our thoughts and our feelings, we're actually being lost in neural projections of past experiences. But we don't necessarily know that because they're not being projected as memories, they're being projected as thoughts and feelings. So we think we're in the moment having all these thoughts and feelings, but we're actually reliving past neural activity or neural projections that were created during past moments. So we're not actually in the present moment. We're actually reliving pieces of the past because we're experiencing neural projections that are from moments, not this moment right here. And so the practice of presence is practicing grounded presence with right here, right now, this moment, this moment, this moment. Now it's 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 actually this moment. And this moment right here has never happened before. So there are no thoughts and there are no feelings because this moment is new. It's brand new. It's fresh. Any thoughts or any feelings are from neural activity or past moments, sculpted data that's providing navigation, reducing the power of our own presence. So the process of practicing loving presence is consciousness connecting with itself through love and connecting with the body through presence. And this alone, like I said, is a lifelong practice. It's something that is practiced every single day for everybody, no matter where they are in their healing journey, whether there's dissociation or not. Practicing loving presence is profoundly important along the healing journey through life and can bring expansive benefits, whether we're healing implicit health challenges or striving towards goals. No matter who we are or what we're going through, practicing loving presence is a profound way to embrace the everyday healing journey of life, to expand into the fullness of all we are and all we can be. During the process of practicing loving presence, the observational self learns to attune with parts of consciousness who are in the experience of the present moment. Once this process of loving presence is definitively established, it's a regular practice where you instinctively go to the practice in every moment of every day. Then consciousness can unite through the power of loving presence to fulfill attachment needs throughout 4 systems in every new moment. So they're established in connection through love, they're established in grounded presence in the body, and then there's a practice of fulfilling attachment needs. And it's important to note that this is all about practice, okay? When there's really thick dissociation, which again, there's literally hundreds of different types of dissociation, and every single one ranges along an infinite spectrum of intensity and severity, and there could be 200 types of dissociation happening simultaneously, and all of them are the most extreme form of them. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience or anything. But dissociation can be really thick. So in those moments, it's not establishing complete felt sense of loving presence because that might not be neurobiologically possible. It's really just about practicing it. So even if you cannot feel your feet on the ground because the dissociation has you floating away, and even if it's difficult to practice love because these parts over here are really mad at these parts over here just because of the stuff that's going on. Regardless of the automated styles of experience, it's really about practice. It doesn't matter how much you feel love and presence. It's about how much you invest energy towards love and presence. Because if things are really thick and things are really severe, and maybe they've been that way for decades, you're going to practice it and not necessarily feel it right away. And that is no reason to be discouraged. You don't need to feel the truth of something to embrace it as a knowing. You don't need to sensationally feel the truth of something to embrace it as a knowing. In our heart of hearts, our consciousness knows who it is. But we've been restricted from that truth for a long time. And so the healing journey is really just expanding into who we truly are, who we always have been, beyond the layers of fear-based and pain-based illusions that make us feel separate from love and presence. But we don't have to feel the truth of something to embrace it as a knowing. So even if there is no sense of love or presence, you literally cannot feel love, because there's a bombarding collage of a million things that do not feel like love, such as trauma-based projections. You literally cannot feel presence. You literally can't feel your skin. You literally can't even hear the sound of your own voice because your internal chaos is louder than your voice speaking right here. Even if you literally cannot feel any sense of love or presence, you still have infinite power to practice investing energies of love and presence. And this is the healing process. This is the healing journey. Practicing love and presence so that even if you can't feel it, you're investing energy with conscious intentionality towards that reality, no matter what you're facing. No matter what you're facing, even if you are nanosecond by nanosecond reliving a million pains, how are you choosing to consciously invest your energy? Because if you're consciously investing energy and focusing on those pains, then you are feeding that reality, and that reality will grow. That reality will grow. But if that reality is all consuming and you're here like, I'm choosing love, I'm choosing presence, I'm choosing love, I'm choosing presence. I can't feel it in any capacity, but I'm choosing love and I'm choosing presence and I'm choosing love and I'm choosing presence and I'm practicing and I'm showing up for myself and I'm practicing and I'm showing up for myself. I still can't feel my own love and presence to any degree, but I'm going to invest in that reality. Then that reality will grow, and eventually it will grow so loud that all you will be able to hear and feel is love and presence. And then that reality will be so dominant that every past pain, every past trauma, everything that has restricted you from living to the fullness of who you truly are will dissolve. The pains will finally be resolved through the power of your love and presence. But that reality requires conscious intentionality to grow, especially when there's chronic dissociation and things that are very much restricting the neurobiological capacity for consciousness to feel love and presence. So regardless of who you are, where you're at, what you're experiencing, there's always an opportunity to practice love and presence, even if you cannot feel that. Consciousness is not neurobiology. Through the power of consciousness, all of neurobiological structures can be rewired, reconstructed, reprogrammed from the ground up. The entire brain and body can be rebuilt from the inside when consciousness harnesses its power.
Even if loving presence cannot be felt in the immediate moment, it's really about practicing the energies of that, connecting with love wherever you happen to be, which means accepting and embracing yourself compassionately. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh my God, I love me, I'm perfect, I'm awesome. It might just be, I have compassion for where I am right now. Right now, I don't feel like I love myself much, but I'm going to have compassion for the me who is experiencing that. So no matter who we are or where we're at, it's really about meeting us in the immediate moment, wherever we happen to be, and practicing energies of loving presence. And this is especially made possible when the observational self is distinct from the experiential self of consciousness, who is also distinct from the brain-body wiring, creating automated translations of reality. That distinction, that process of unblending and self-attunement really provides power along the healing journey through life. So even if we are experiencing 200 different types of severe dissociation, there's still power to move through those moments and practice energies of loving presence. Once loving presence is established to the best of our ability, again, you might not feel it in the immediate moment, but if you've been practicing it in every moment of every day for a few weeks, let's say, or a couple months maybe, then it's time to take the next healing journey step, which is showing up for specific attachment needs in the present moment. I explore attachments through 4 distinct systems, and this is expressed through my first thesis statement here in my Implicit Revelations case study, and it's looked at in greater detailed depth in my liberated consciousness diagram, which I explore in my book, Liberated Consciousness. So please feel free to stay tuned and check out those magics for further insight on these topics. There are 4 distinct attachment systems within our unconscious body-mind, and each one has specific needs, and each one connects with distinct regions of subconscious parts. And so once we've practiced loving presence for a while, and we kind of have a feeling down for the process of self-attunement, then we can take the next step and practice showing up for these specific attachment needs in the immediate moment. Do I feel safe right here, right now? Do I feel seen and loved right here, right now? Not in past moments, not in potential moments, but this immediate moment, this immediate moment, this immediate moment, this immediate moment. Not that moment that happened yesterday, not that moment that happened 10 years ago, not the potential of the moment tomorrow. This moment right here. Do I feel safe in this moment right here? Do I feel seen and loved in this moment right here? Do I feel supported and connected in this moment right here? Do I feel respected and embraced in this moment right here? Do I have everything I need in this moment right here where I am breathing and my heart is beating right here, right now, this moment? So it's a process of practicing loving presence because we're not in the past and we're not in the future, we're right here, right now. And once we have that process practiced a little bit, we can kind of connect with ourselves through compassion, kind of be somewhat present with where we are in this moment, then it's helping fulfill attachment needs through these 4 distinct systems in the immediate moment. Then, once this becomes a regular practice, every single day you're showing up for these attachment needs in 4 distinct systems, every single day, every single moment of every single day. It's a practice, it's a practice, it's a practice, it's a practice you're practicing. Every moment is an opportunity to practice loving presence and attachment need fulfillment. Every moment. The moment where you're walking to the bus stop, the moment where you're eating your cereal, the moment where you're brushing your teeth, the moment where you're at the cashier register at work. Every single moment, no matter what you're doing or where you are, is an opportunity to practice loving presence and attachment need fulfillment. Because no matter who we are, where we are, what we're doing, we are always present with our consciousness.
That's the one constant. That's the one constant. The one thing that never changes is we are in a present moment with our consciousness. Everything else is always changing. Everything else is always changing. The only constant thing is a present moment with our self-essence. That's the only constant. So when we put our focus and our power there, then our power grows, because no matter what else is happening, we're practicing loving presence and we're practicing attachment need fulfillment. And then our power is being amplified from within. And then we have more power to respond to whatever else might be changing around us, right? But our power comes from inside the miracle of our being. So no matter who we are, where we are, what we're doing, we're practicing loving presence, we're practicing attachment need fulfillment. Every single moment is a brand new opportunity for this process of practice. And again, it's practice. You don't have to get it perfect. You're not trying to be like, oh my God, I'm an amazing attachment need fulfiller. Like, it's a practice. You're practicing love, you're practicing presence, you're practicing helping the parts of your consciousness feel a sense of internal need fulfillment. And sometimes there will be victories and sometimes there will be struggles, and you'll gradually get a feel for what kind of works. What are some things that help you feel safe? What are some things that help you feel seen by yourself? What are some things that help you feel supported and connected from within? What are some things that help you feel like you respect yourself? And so it's kind of a process of learning about yourself and learning how to meet these needs for parts of your own consciousness. Okay, once this becomes a regular practice, then a next step can be taken. And I want to add too that when we practice loving presence, when we practice attachment need fulfillment, we are rewiring our neurobiological applications of consciousness, because a felt sense of love stimulates new implicit emotional memories, and doing this in a regular practice with presence stimulates new implicit procedural memories. And these implicit unconscious memories are at the foundation of how our entire brain and body navigates its existence and regulates its existence. So this process is literally transforming your own being from the inside out. Practicing this ultimately transforms how the unconscious body-mind navigates and regulates its own being. So, quite a miracle that you're doing here. You're performing miracles when you practice this. You are literally creating miracles from the power of your consciousness for the parts of your consciousness. You're literally creating miracles from the power of your consciousness for the parts of your consciousness. This process of practicing loving presence, self-attunement, internal need, attachment need fulfillment through everyday practices is rewiring the foundation of the unconscious body-mind. And it might not feel that way, but that's literally what's happening in the process. Many miracles. So once that is established and it's a regular thing, you're showing up every single day for this process through daily practices, daily healing journey rituals, or whatever that might look like for you personally. Then, when memories arise from past moments of unfulfilled attachment needs, the power of consciousness, grounded in loving presence in the moment, and having somewhat, at least, of a felt sense of attachment need fulfillment in the here and now, that power can be interjected into those past experiences to heal them. But it's important to understand that consciousness is not trying to heal past experiences. Consciousness is healing presently existing neural wiring. When we look at past experiences, we're looking at the explicit physicality details. We're looking at the experience. But when we shift towards healing the inner experiencer, then we have more power to produce real healing transformation. Okay? When we try to heal past experiences, we're looking outside of us at a moment that is not now and at a thing that is not us. Okay? Do you see that? Do you see the distinction here? When we try to heal past experiences, we're looking at a thing that is not now and it's not us. But if we know that we are trying to heal presently existing neural data and our inner experiencer, then we're reconnected with the here and the now and the parts of ourselves who are in the here and the now. We're not actually healing past experiences. We're transmuting neural data in the now that was created from those experiences. And this shift of perspective is so profoundly powerful, because then we're looking here and now inside of us, not back then outside of us. When we look away from now and away from us, we lose our power. So if we try to heal past experiences, we lose our power, and then healing can feel overwhelming or impossible. But when we understand we're healing neural data that's right here, right now, and parts of our consciousness are experiencing that neural data right here, right now, then we're looking to the here and the now inside of us. We reconnect with loving presence. We reconnect with our power. Okay? So once there's a practice of living presence and self-attunement and consistent applications of trying to show up for attachment needs in the present moment, then this power accumulates. Consciousness cultivates its power regardless of what's happening. Even if there's 200 types of severe dissociation, consciousness is cultivating its power. And then as consciousness cultivates its power, when memories arise from past moments, consciousness can show up for those attachment needs now in relation to memory activations. Basically, consciousness goes inside of the neural data, distinguishes the aspects of consciousness, unites self-essence, and then transmutes the energetic information in the neural data, to overly simplify a very complex process. Once loving presence and self-attunement and attachment and fulfillment in the now are established, consciousness will gradually cultivate its power so that it can transmute all regions of neural wiring, which heals past experiences, because that information is really just data inside of our body impacting parts of ourselves now. And as we heal our neural data and liberate our consciousness now, the past can't touch us anymore, because the information from those experiences is completely changed. When we transmute the content and connectivity of neural wiring, we literally rewrite history, because history is stored in our body. When we transmute the energetic content and connectivity of neural wiring, we literally rewrite history, because history exists in our brain and our body. It's the only place that the stories of our experiences live on. And so if we don't like the stories of our experiences, or the stories of our experiences are creating pains in our everyday lives, we have power to change all of it. We literally have all of the power needed to change all of it. Whether it's suppressed childhood trauma from over 2 decades ago, or multiple other traumatic events from the past decade, or pains from relationships, or pains from this or that, or, difficulties with your relationship with your own self, or the way you feel about your body, or literally anything. If we don't like something in our experience, we have the power to rewrite it, because all of it is right here, right now in the cells of our body, and consciousness is independent of that and has power to change it. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Even without rewriting specific memory data in our brains and our bodies, practicing loving presence and attachment need fulfillment in the here and the now still rewires existing data sculpted during past experiences. How? Why? What? Wait, how? If I'm just doing stuff up here, how is that one trauma from 15 years ago getting healed? Don't I have to go into that and heal that specifically for it to change? No. No, you don't. You absolutely do not need to go into that past trauma to help heal it. What's happening is in every single moment, our neural data is activating to try and help us navigate our moments. So you see a bird flying overhead, the stimulus of seeing that goes in and goes through the unconscious body mind. The unconscious body mind is like, let me go reach in and discover all the intel associated with this vibrational signal. And so every single moment you've ever seen a bird is activated, and then all this translation stuff goes on beyond our awareness, and then eventually that information comes up and your brain's like, it's a bird, and it projects that information. So then your consciousness sees a bird and says, oh, I understand that thing flying in the sky is a bird. Okay, this is one of infinite examples, obviously, to keep these complex topics simplified. So in every single moment, our neural data is unconsciously activating to navigate our own self who is encountering new moments of experience. With each activation, every single time neural data is activated, unconsciously, we don't consciously know that this neural data is being activated. We can't go in and be like, oh my God, look, there's that piece of neural activity and there's that piece of neural activity. And oh my God, there's literally 2,000 neural activations happening just because I saw that leaf. That's crazy. We can't necessarily go in and see all the neural activity happening, which is really the whole point. It wouldn't be so miraculous if we knew about everything that was happening all the time. And so really just existing is a complete miracle. So there's all this neural activity happening beyond our awareness, but with every activation, that energy is actually being changed. Just by being activated, it is being changed. So how it's being activated and what else is happening in the moment changes that data. But again, we don't know about it. We don't know that how we're moving through this moment right here, right now, is changing the neural data from 10 years ago. We don't know that neural data from 10 years ago is being activated to help us navigate our now moment. We're just up here in the moment. But in our unconscious body mind, beyond awareness, because approximately 99.08% of internal activity occurs beyond all awareness, so there's a lot happening that we don't know about. A lot happening inside of us that we have no idea about in every single nanosecond, much less every second, minute, hour, day. A lot of miracles happening. So there's all this neural activity, and every time neural data is activated, it is being changed beyond awareness. So when we're up here in the moment practicing loving presence, even if we can't feel it, but we're practicing it, practicing loving presence, practicing attachment need fulfillment in the new moments, then all this past data is being activated to help us navigate our now, but we don't necessarily know about it. And then how we're moving through our now moment is changing that neural data unconsciously, indirectly, beyond awareness. So even without reaching into past memories, we can help that neural wiring heal just by practicing loving presence in the here and now, by helping parts of our consciousness have a felt sense of attachment and fulfillment in this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment. Not the moment 5 minutes ago, not the moment yesterday, not the moment a week ago, not the moment a month ago, not the potential of the moment tonight or tomorrow or next week. This moment, right here, right now. Now it's this moment, now it's this moment. Only now, only here, only love, only presence. When we make that a priority in our everyday lives, then our past starts to change, because the power of our loving presence is transmuting neural wiring that is storing the history of our life experiences. Our histories exist right here, and the power of our consciousness can transmute it in every single moment through the power of loving presence. This process of rewiring implicit emotional and procedural memories in relation to attachment well-being are really the foundation of all of my healing journey programs and practices, shared in a variety of different ways, including through written books and recorded videos. Please feel free to explore my offerings through Kristin's Consciousness Consultancy at KristinWindsor.com. You can explore Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, Healing into Happiness Playbook, and Implicit Transformation, which are healing journey programs intended to last 2 to 5 years or longer. And it's all from application of them in my own life. And so, speaking from experience, every single one of these programs has profound power. They are the reason that I am who and where I am today. And you can explore my story in part 1 of my known documentary series. You can explore my offerings at KristinWindsor.com, including my Healing into Happiness Playbook, Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, and Implicit Transformation at KristinWindsor.com/healing. And these are all presented in booklet formats. And the programs can be continually used for many, many years. Healing into Happiness Playbook has different play prompts, play practices that can be used on a daily basis, and it has different ways that you apply them basically to last for several years. And the process of applying these play prompts actually stimulates the generation of new implicit emotional and procedural memories to transmute the core foundational structures of the unconscious body-mind to liberate parts of consciousness. My Restoring Consciousness Toolkit has a process of unblending from subconscious parts so the observational self can attune with them and more effectively be there for these parts of consciousness, gradually transmuting implicit memories in relation to attachment well-being so that more parts of self-essence can feel the power of loving presence. Implicit Transformation is the most powerful of all of my healing journey offerings at this point in my journey anyways, and it presents the core foundation of how I transmuted the implicit wiring that was at the foundation of all implicit health challenges. And so if you've been following my Miraculous Known documentary series, you'll know that I couldn't create new conscious memories for several years. And during that time, every single moment was impacted by projections of implicit memories sculpted during past traumatic experiences. So it was a bombarding collage of implicit projections, and there was no explicit sense of self. There was no explicit sense of I'm me here having an experience, and that happened for several years. And so implicit transformation is actually the core foundation of how I healed all the underlying causalities of dissociation and the other dozens of implicit health challenges that I faced. And so it's a process of creating new implicit memories and specifically transmuting past data or existing neural wiring sculpted during past experiences and liberating consciousness in the process. It really is a complete, you go in and you change all of the implicit wiring in the core foundations of the entire unconscious body-mind. It really is a complete transformational process that can
easily take several years and continually produce even more healing transformation. So that's the Implicit Transformation Healing Journey Program. You can explore all of these many offerings and other content creations and services through Kristin's Consciousness Consultancy at KristinWindsor.com. I also offer video recordings because I know sometimes book format might not be the best approach depending who and where you are in your healing journey through life. So there's also several video offerings that have different angles of content, including my Delicious Magic Play Shop, where you can learn how to cook and practice mindfulness throughout that process. There's the Sailing Through Consciousness Guided Meditation Collection. And there's a very special inner child hand dance that can help heal the foundations of neurobiological applications of consciousness in brand new ways. And those can be explored at KristinWindsor.com/healing-videos. It's profoundly incredible to explore the power of these concepts in personal application. So looking at my own personal healing journey that had led to this Implicit Revelations case study, the first several years of this process involved transmuting neural wiring in relation to alternate states of consciousness. There were over 24 independent persons experiencing my one brain-body system, and each state of consciousness was connected with neural wiring that had its own pains. So it was literally transmuting the neurobiological structures of over 24 people. And that took several years. And all of that was made possible through these concepts and practices: loving presence, attachment need fulfillment, etc., the things we've been discussing here. Then, just in the past year, as another example, I could not remember the first 25 years of my life. There was a point of my healing journey towards the beginning of 2020 where there was some profoundly deep trauma transformation. Not to get into it, but what happened during that season was so severe, it basically cut me off from all of the explicit information about me from my whole life. So I reached a point where I dug in deep to all of the deepest of the shadow works and the trauma work. And what happened during that season was intense enough to cut me off from all of the data from the first 25 years of my life. So less than a year ago, I could not remember anything from the first 25 years of my life explicitly. I had no conscious memories of my own life at all. At all. None. The only conscious memories I could get to were pieces of my trauma recovery in recent days. That was less than a year ago. Now, I've recovered nearly all of my memories from my whole life, going all the way back to childhood and all the way through all of my adult years. All of those memories, the majority of them anyways, I'm still getting some pieces back, but the vast majority of them have been recovered and reorganized. The instinctive way those memories are accessed now are completely recategorized, recatalogued, restructured, reorganized. And they are in a greater sense of divine order than they ever have been. So they weren't just recovered. I don't just have access to knowing where I was living 10 years ago, etc. But all of the memories are totally refiled, rewired, reorganized, so that all aspects of my consciousness from all these different periods of my experiences are in a new now moment with a greater sense of navigation and regulation, because that's what memories do. They help us in our nows. They don't just store the past. So not only can I remember my whole life, which is totally awesome. It's really cool to be able to remember your life. It was a blessed season when I couldn't remember it, and it is a blessed season now when I can remember it. So not only can I remember my whole life now, though, but the way that neural wiring is helping me navigate my sense of self and my new moments
and provide instinctive regulatory protocols in my brain and body is in a state of greater health and well-being than ever before in my whole life. And less than a year ago, I couldn't even remember my life. And then this is where I am now. And all of that was made possible through these practices of loving presence and attachment need fulfillment. Applying the abstract concepts of the ideas shared here in my case study and applying the practices I've cultivated that I share through my consciousness consultancy. And so it's really profoundly fascinating to explore the profound power of these ideas, because when they're actually genuinely applied, it changes things that you didn't even think could be changed. It changes things you didn't even know you wanted to change. It liberates more of you in ways that you didn't even know you wanted or needed. It creates space for a greater sense of wholeness than you ever thought possible. It's really profound to explore this. If you've explored my 27th thesis analysis here in my Implicit Revelations case study shared through my known documentary series, you'll notice that there's a lot of different kinds of dissociation. And there's even more, there's over 50 more types of dissociative experiences that I discuss in my Implicit Revelations gift package. So if you've explored those, you'll know how many different types of dissociation I alone have experienced. Every single one of those dissociative experiences ultimately reached healing resolution through the application of these ideas and related practices. So exploring the profound power of this is truly astounding. It really shows the power we have as consciousness to influence the automated styles of our experiences, which are being translated through our brain and our body. So no matter who we are or what we're experiencing, whether it's one or two types of dissociation, whether it's literally 200 types of dissociation, whether they're somewhat mild, whether it's so severe it's all-consuming to the greatest degree imaginable. No matter what the details are, there is always healing hope. And practicing loving presence provides power unconditionally. So even if things don't change overnight, continually practicing love and presence has enough power to ignite the transformation we are desiring and deserve. My 28th thesis statement is that regardless of what type of dissociation is being experienced, healing may ignite when specifically addressing attachment needs through daily self-love practices. Even though there are literally hundreds of types of dissociation, many of which I explored in Thesis 27 and my Implicit Revelations gift package, all types of dissociation stem from neural wiring sculpted during past moments of unmet attachment needs. Those past experiences sculpted neural data that's influencing automated styles of navigation and regulation in our here-now moments. Because all the different types of dissociation can be traced back to this one deeper hidden reality of the unconscious body-mind, there's healing hope for any and all of them. Even if we cannot identify the type of dissociation we're experiencing, or even if there are several dozens or even hundreds of types of dissociation occurring simultaneously. And all the different chaotic realities are like overlapping, and it's like, how do you address this one thing because there's like 20 things happening on top of that? You know, there's like all of this different dissociative experience occurring simultaneously and impacting different regions of parts of consciousness. It can get a little confusing and chaotic and overwhelming when there's so much happening all simultaneously, but to different aspects of the self in very mysterious, inexplicable sort of ways, as dissociation can often feel and manifest. So even if the types of dissociation can't be specifically identified, even if you can't say this is exactly what's happening, you just have a sense of it abstractly. Even without identifying the specific types of dissociation, this process of practicing loving presence, practicing attachment need fulfillment in the here and now moments can help heal the underlying neurobiological core causalities of the experience. So even without addressing the dissociation, it can begin to heal. Even without addressing the dissociation, it can heal by practicing loving presence and attachment need fulfillment in the here and now moments, because that process is healing the underlying structures in the brain and the body that are generating or stimulating those automated styles of personal experiences. Implicit health directly stems from the well-being of implicit memories and attachment systems, which references my 5th thesis statement here in my Implicit Revelations case study. By rewiring implicit memories through a felt sense of attachment need fulfillment through daily practices of loving presence, we actually radically reconstruct the foundations of our neurobiological applications of consciousness to uplift our implicit health. And implicit health refers to mental, emotional, behavioral, or action pattern, spiritual, relational well-being. Implicit health, all of the energetic components of our well-being, all of them are uplifted when we start to reconstruct implicit memories in relation to attachment well-being, which can be done by creating a felt sense of attachment need fulfillment on a daily basis. I explore these ideas from a variety of angles throughout my case study, especially through theses number 14 through 17. So if these topics interest you for your own personal healing journey, or to have the insight to empower a loved one's healing journey, or if you're a healing practitioner and to have further insight to aid your clients, I really encourage you to explore other insights in my Implicit Revelations case study. You can explore my whole miraculous adventures at KristinWindsor.com/known, where I share my personal journey and then all of my different thesis statements and theories, expressed through video creations in the documentary series and the official text of my thesis statements and the primary points. Among the infinite magic offered, I discuss transforming implicit health and the infinite power we each have to radically revolutionize the well-being of our own internal attachment systems.
What are you waiting for? Why aren't you at KristinWindsor.com/known? Don't you understand how much magic is just waiting for you? Hidden miraculous wonders of your unconscious body-mind are just waiting to be understood, healed, empowered, and liberated from the inside out.
Succinctly summarized, my 28th thesis statement is that regardless of how dissociation is being experienced, cultivating attachment need fulfillment through daily self-love practices gradually produces healing resolution.
happened to you?